Hi, good evening, good afternoon. Today, we are going to go ahead and we are going to start with pure and impure public goods. But we have already gone ahead and we have already studied the two models of pure public goods. One was a partial equilibrium model and the other was a general equilibrium model. We have already studied these two models. Hai na? In today's class, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take you through, if time permits, through one of the other models. Otherwise, at least my aim would be to go ahead and do the entire part of what is pure and impure public goods and what is the free rider problem. So that is what I want to go ahead and discuss for the day. Okay, so let us start. So please write down the topic for the day: pure and impure public goods. तो बेटा हमने ये तो पहले ही पढ़ लिया कि we have already studied this, that what are pure goods, what are pure public goods, है ना? We studied two properties of those goods. One was non-rivalrousness and one was non-excludability. We studied both these properties, right? But when we talk about the real world, there may not exist any public good which is completely following these two properties. Like take an example. अभी लिखेंगे, पहले समझ लो थोड़ा सा. So let us take an example of a flyover. This flyover, it is non-excludable. मतलब मैं किसी को exclude नहीं कर सकती है use करने से. I can't exclude anyone from using this. At the same time, this flyover, this is also non-rivalrous. So when you use this flyover, when your car comes on it, it does not reduce the flyover that is available for me, right? But just think about this. If there are a lot of cars, बहुत सारी cars हैं इस flyover पे, if there are a lot of cars, then what will happen? In that case, I am going to be affected by one more car. If there are already 100 cars on the flyover, then I will be affected by 101st car on the flyover, right? So what do we want to say? We want to go ahead and say that after a point of time, we are affected by the other car, and therefore, after a point of time, this is no more non-rivalrous, this becomes rivalrous. Usage by one person reduces the amount that is available for the other person. Clear? So that means that we need to work with the real world. And real world does not have obvious public goods. After a point of time, something that is rivalrous may become, non-rivalrous may become rivalrous. As I suppose I'm talking about a park, but anybody can enter this park and walk. Till the point anybody can enter and walk, it is non-excludable, non-rivalrous. But now just think about this. If I put an entry fees on this park, then this is no more non-excludable. I can exclude people from joining it. क्योंकि अब सिर्फ वो लोग जो इसकी entry fees देंगे, only they will be able to use this. So when we talk about pure versus impure goods, what do we want to say? But we want to go ahead and say that we are not always having goods which are pure public goods. And in fact, a lot of times we deal with something which is known as impure public good. It is not completely pure. So let's write that down. Right? So please write down that one of the criticisms of public good was that such goods are not obvious in the real world. So you would not go ahead and you would not see such goods in the real world. In the real world, they may or they may not exist. Okay, beta. So this theory, it was given by Margolis, and it was given in 1955. So in 1955, Margolis suggested कि कुछ impure public goods भी हो सकते हैं, कुछ ऐसे goods भी हो सकते हैं जो non-rivalrous ना रहें. So then he asked, what should be done in this case? What should we go ahead and do? How should we go ahead and how should we define them, right? In fact, there was this economist, his name was Sandler, and he suggested कि जो defense भी है, even defense is not pure public good. Why? Because suppose I have a limited defense. If I deploy this defense in my north region, maybe I will have less for my south region. If I deploy this defense in the east region, maybe I will have less defense in the west region. So what he said is, even defense is not a pure public good. जब एक रीजन को ज्यादा मिलता है तो उससे ऑटोमेटिकली दूसरे रीजन के लिए डिफेंस कम हो जाता है, राइट? सो लेट्स राइट दिस डाउन दैट इवन डिफेंस insofar as protection is concerned is not a pure public good. But you should know who has given what. So it should not seem to the examiner that you think that defense is not a public good. ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि आपकी statement है. It should be well aware to the examiner that this statement, it was given by Sandler in 1977. And why did he give this? He said, if armies are deployed in the north, there will be less protection in the south. Okay, that's the second thing. Then indeed Samuelson went ahead and he gave multiple examples of this thing. So Samuelson, he went ahead and he talked about lighthouses. He went ahead and he talked about other things. So he said that there are in fact goods which are not completely pure in nature. So please write down that Samuelson further questioned the possibility of pure public goods, right? So he said कि ये extreme सही नहीं है that you just have pure public and pure pure private good. So he came up with the possibility of the impure public good. So he came up with possibility of impure public good between two extremes of pure public and private good. So he said that between pure public and pure private good, you should have impure public good. But when we go ahead and draw this in a matrix, that is called as taxonomy of the good. So taxonomy क्या होती है? A taxonomy of good is when you go ahead and you show pure public and pure private good along with impure goods in a matrix. So let's draw that. So I'm drawing a taxonomy of goods. And in this taxonomy of good, we are dividing them on the basis of their properties. So here I have rivalrous. Here I have non-rivalrous. Here I have excludable. and here I have non-excludable. ठीक है बेटा, यहाँ पे मैंने 4 goods लिख दिए. Here I have written good A, good B, good C, and good D. So the aim is to go ahead and give examples of all these 4 goods, A, B, C, and D. And let us start with the first good, which is good number A. So beta, if you look at A are those goods which are rivalrous. मतलब एक के use करने से दूसरे के लिए कम है. So they are rivalrous and they are excludable. I can exclude people from using this. So those goods which are rivalrous and excludable, those goods are called pure private good. है ना? These are private goods. So can you give me an example of this? Yes, ma'am. Any good? Let's say pizza. Let's say cars. Let's say cycle. Anything. TV. Not TV. Let's not give TV. So pizza, car, cycle. These are pure private good. I can exclude people from using it. Right? So if I'm putting a price on the pizza, I'm excluding you from using it if you don't have money for it. And at the same time, I can also go ahead and make them rivalrous. So if you eat 1 slice of pizza, there is 1 less left for me. Then come to the other extreme, which is D. So D is non-rivalrous and non-excludable. So but when I talk about non-rivalrous, non-excludable, it means it is a pure private public good. So pure public good. Again, the best example that I can still give for pure public good will be defense. Matlab defense se upar beta there is no example still for pure public good. So whenever asked, you should give defense. It was only this person, Sandler, who said that even defense can sometimes act as an impure public good. But as far as our example is concerned, we will go ahead with defense. But now come to the other 2 parts. So now I go ahead to C and B. So if I talk about C, what is C? C says you have non-rivalrous and excludable property. So non-rivalrous, excludable. Matlab, at the moment I put excludable, I am putting a price on that good. But it is non-rivalrous in nature. Matlab, usage by one does not go ahead and does not reduce usage by another, right? So in such cases, you can have examples of theaters, example of swimming pool, example of circus, example of discos. So what happens in all these places? So imagine a movie hall, beta. Suppose I tell you there are 500 seats in the movie hall. Suppose I tell you I've put a price on it. So I'm putting the ticket to be 250 rupees each. Then only who can pay for the ticket can go ahead and watch that movie. So in that sense, it is excludable. Only people who pay can watch. But because I am sitting on this seat and watching the movie, it does not reduce the movie that you watch. If I get to watch 2.5 hours of movie, you also get to watch 2.5 hours of movie. So it is non-rivalrous in nature. So example can be movie theaters, swimming pools. Only swimming pool till a level. So when swimming pool is empty and say there is a fees on swimming pool, 400 rupees. I give the fees and I get to go in the swimming pool. If second person is there, they can also use the swimming pool, but it will not reduce water available for me. So in that sense, it will be non-rivalrous here, right? So this is point number C. Now, the last one that I have, that is this. So the last one that we have, beta, that is B. So rivalrous, but non-excludable. So when I talk about goods which are rivalrous but not excludable, This is where we talk about something which is known as tragedy of commons. What is tragedy of commons? But those goods which are common property. Just like, for example, imagine that there is a mountain. On this mountain, there is a grazing land. Now, the first person, he can get all his cows, his sheep on this land and they can graze. You cannot exclude him because this is a free resource. The second person, he can get also all his sheep. They can also graze the same land. The third person can get his sheep. They can also graze the same land. So you cannot exclude anyone from using it because it is a common property. That is why it is non-excludable. But when one person uses it, when, suppose he has 100 sheep. When his sheep use it, then they're taking all the grass. It reduces the grass for his sheep. It reduces the grass for his sheep. So usage by one reduces the usage by the other person. And in that sense, we are saying that this is basically rivalrous in nature. So I hope this is making sense to you.